Actor from Chicago continues after the break here on Fox.
Let's do this. Frozen turkey.
New kid.
What do you call the only side-by-side that's wider on both sides? The Wide-by-Side. Possibly the most versatile refrigerator in the whole wide world.
Allow me.
The Wide-by-Side. Another dependable idea.
You need help to your car with that?
Only from Maytag.
Endless meetings or endless allergies? When seasonal allergies make you miserable, Allegra can help. Only Allegra has fexofenadine, so unlike many other antihistamines, it won't make you drowsy. And Allegra gives you 24-hour relief. For people 12 and older, side effects are low and may include headache, cold, or back pain. Talk to your doctor about Allegra. We can't make you work better, but we can make you feel better at work. Non-drowsy Allegra. Real relief for real living.
You wait right here, Mark, and I'll get Diane. Diane! Diane!
Cheese it. Get your own box.
How do you invest to help secure your children's future? You start with your dreams and Edward Jones.
My life, my world, it all begins with a dream.
Edward Jones.
Diabetes. It's no joke at all. I'm leaving the pain behind me.
The One Touch Ultra requires less blood, so you can test on your arm where it's less painful. The One Touch Ultra.
I've been waiting for this for 10 years.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. In the Personal Story segment tonight, it seems almost every night we are reporting about strange and disturbing things going on in California. Now a federal lawsuit has been filed against the Excelsior School in Byron, outside of San Francisco, charging that 7th grade students there were ordered to become Muslims in a social studies program. The program is called Islam Simulation, and the public school says it's necessary in order to give students a creative way to understand the world of Islam. However, nobody from the school would talk to us about the program on the air. But joining us now from Ann Arbor, Michigan, is Richard Thompson, the chief counsel for the Thomas More Law Center, which has filed the lawsuit. And from Washington, Sarah El-Tantawi, the communications director for the Muslim Public Affairs Council. Counselor, we'll start with you. Why are you suing?
Well, because we want to know what the rules of the game are regarding the teaching or practice of religion in public schools. Here we have 7th grade students who are told in this course, this 3-week intensive course on Islam, that from the beginning they and their classmates will become Muslims, not learn about Muslims or the Islamic faith, but become Muslims. The first day they're given Muslim names from a list of names. They have to wear that as a name tag for the rest of the class. They're told to wear Muslim clothes, and the clothes are demonstrated. Students who refuse to do that are placed in the rear of the class and not allowed to participate in the class. They're told to memorize verses from the Quran, memorize Islamic proverbs. They're told to memorize the 5 pillars of faith, which is central to being a good Muslim, and must imitate requirements of each of the pillars, including for the holy month of Ramadan, they must give up a lunch as a part of the fast. They're told to play a game of jihad as a challenge, a dice challenge between teams that they are created as a part of the school. So we believe that this is an impermissible infringement on the Establishment Clause of the Constitution. And Christians are told starting in 1963 that they cannot read the Bible, they cannot pray, they cannot display the 10 Commandments, they cannot have a moment of silence, and just in the year 2000 they were told they could not even pray before a football game. So we want to know what the rules are.
All right, Ms. El-Tantawi, how do you reply to that?
Well, first of all, I think that we can all agree that it is important for us to learn the major tenets of the world's major religions in order to further our children's educations. Now, saying that, let's get to the bottom of the case here being filed by Thomas More. They're claiming that Christianity is not being taught, or it's only being taught in a negative light, But what they don't tell you is that the very same students who in the 7th grade do the unit on Islam, in the 6th grade do an entire book that starts from 1600 BC all the way to 600 AD, which teaches you the Israelites, the Hebrew tradition, and the Judeo-Christian tradition 2 to 3 times more than it teaches you Islam in the 7th grade. You've got 8 scriptures from the Old Testament, you've got 6 examples of scripture from the New Testament, and the children are required to do the exact same simulation. Now, getting to the details of their case, according to all the officials I spoke to, the superintendent, the school, the publisher of the book, and the people who give the supplementary materials, no student was ever forced to pray. No student was ever forced to fast. There are some wild misrepresentations and exaggerations here. They say that students were forced to go on the pilgrimage. What students really did was they followed the camel caravan on a bulletin board. The only children who took Muslim names were children who did an extra credit report at the end of the class, or they put Muslim name cards and Muslim robes to do a play for extra credit. They say that in the textbook they represent Islam as if it is fact when they say things like, they quoted, for example, Muhammad saw a vision of the angel Gabriel. You look at the textbook, it says Muhammad, according to his followers, saw a vision of the angel Gabriel. So I find it very hard to have this discussion when it's so riddled with inaccuracies.
If it's true that in the 6th grade they have to do Judeo-Christian simulation, then it seems balanced to me. No?
Well, first of all, Bill, that is not the case. We talked to the parents and the children who were attending the Byron Middle School, and they did not have the same simulation type classes. But regardless of what Sarah's saying, she is defending something that we have not alleged. We are alleging that the simulation book itself is a violation of the Establishment Clause, that you cannot force students to pretend that they're Muslims or followers of the Islamic faith.
So on the same tenet, if there was a simulation book, Counselor, if there was a simulation book that's for students to pretend they were Jewish or Christian, you would file a lawsuit against that as well?
Which there is, Bill.
No,
wait a minute.
Here, first of all, we know what the courts have already said when Christians have attempted to practice their faith in the public school system. They do not allow it. So it's not a question of can Christians do it versus the Muslims do it. We already know what the Supreme Court of the United States has said. So that is the issue we have. If they want to have children understand what different faiths are, that's one thing. Educating about religion and comparative religion is fine, but the courts have drawn the line and said you cannot force students by having a grade.
I'm getting the thing. The only thing I don't know is about the simulation in the 6th grade, because I'm not there.
I can answer that for you.
But no, you can answer, Ms. Elton-Tawi, but you're not objective. All right, you're putting forth your position, and the counsel's putting forth his.
Well, let me tell you,
I don't know.
I've talked to the people, the simulation.
It doesn't matter. You're talking to people. You're talking to people who are being sued, who are going to tell you what their line is.
I've seen their
but we don't know what's
true. And let me tell you, and they also have simulation exercises. You have to, for example, when they study Christendom, you have got to take the oath of a monk in order to understand the relationship of a monk in the Catholic Church.
All right. Be that as it may. Be that as it may. Wait. Ms. Elton-Tawi, wait. Be that as it may, I'm not on the scene. It's a he said, she said. I'm not believing anybody. But what I see that's wrong is if you dress up like a Muslim and if you take a Muslim name, then you get extra credit. Now, that's not right in a public school because some kids' religions are going to be offended. So they're going to be denied the extra credit. That's wrong, Ms. Elton-Tawi.
Well, Bill, what you're objecting to is this particular style of teaching. You seem to be objecting to role-playing
rewarding
and
children. No, I'm objecting to rewarding children who are willing to do something that other children can't do.
Okay,
that other children can't do.
Then you disagree
You're rewarding in a public school.
You disagree with that style of teaching then in order to learn Catholicism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and anything else. That is not what Thomas More is talking about. They are singling out Islam, and they are saying that Islam especially is being proselytized to children, and that's patently ridiculous when you take a look at the actual text and when you take a look at the simulation materials.
All right, I'm going to give you the last word, Counselor. Go ahead.
What do you think the ACLU would do if they saw a public school system have children memorize the gospel, John 3:16,
I understand.
or or the Lord's Prayer,
It's
or
true.
fast for Lent.
Right. But I have to be fair to Ms. El-Tantawi. I'm not there. I don't know what the simulation regarding Jewish and Christian religions is. I don't. But we'll follow your lawsuit, Counselor. Ms. El-Tantawi, as always, we appreciate your time.
Thanks.
And in just a few moments, Michael Jackson crying racism. We will talk to his former lawyer about Mr. Jackson's somewhat bizarre behavior on this item in a moment.
Invited to the grooviest, mind-blowing, far-out happening of the summer. Fox Movie Channel Summer Camp 2002. All summer long, the swingingest.
Come in, Myra.
Craziest, campiest movies from 20th Century Fox.
Let me have it! Up yours, Ratso.
Summer Camp 2002. All summer long, every Saturday night at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific on Fox Movie Channel.
KXL News Time, 7:50.
Ivan Scott joins us live from the Pentagon.
It's at 15 and 45. Here's Kevin.
Now, Bill O'Reilly's Talking Points on KXL.
The home of the Ducks and Blazers, News Radio.
Your station for fair and balanced news. News Radio 750 KXL.
July is going to be hot, but you can get some cool deals on quality furniture from Furniture Outlet during our July 10th sale.
What's that? Nah, it's just Brad.
It's just me.
Furniture Outlet, the friendly and fun place to save. They are the same. Community Chevy of St. John. Community Chevy.
Chevy ranks us as the #1 dealer in Oregon and Southwest Washington.
Which just goes to show people do appreciate saving money.
Right now we have Silverados $8,000 below MSRP.
Tahoe's $9,000 below.
Suburban's $10,000 below.
Because at Community Chevrolet, we try to never, ever be undersold.
They are the same. Community Chevy of St. John.
AT&T Broadband.
Weather. What a beautiful start to your day. But it's
Another
not going
morning.
Fast, heavy showers, moving in fast.
Another business trip. Another reason to watch First Outlook.
Bring your umbrella.
Every weekday morning from 5 to 7 on the Weather Channel.
Catch the day's forecast every morning with First Outlook on the Weather Channel.
Serving the Tualatin Valley. We're AT&T Broadband.
Good morning, Portland. I'm Steve Leader.
And I'm Rebecca Marshall.
Portland firefighters come to the rescue of a
pretty strong front is moving towards the Oregon
Lined
coast.
up on the Sunset heading inbound from the west side.
Today, the
Fort
Fed is
Oregon.
likely to announce that interest rates. Your station for fair and balanced news. News Radio 750 KXL.
In the Back of the Book segment tonight, singer Michael Jackson pulled another bizarre stunt over the weekend, touring around New York City, calling his own record company, Sony, racist, among other things. In the beginning, Al Sharpton was on board this strange spectacle, but now even Sharpton's backing away. Joining us now from Los Angeles is Bert Fields, Jackson's former attorney, who ironically now represents the Sony Corporation, which Jackson despises. All right, Counselor, now he calls Tommy Mottola, who is the Sony music boss, he calls him a racist, mean, and very, 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 three veries, devilish. So what say you, Counselor?
Well, I think part of what Michael said, and by the way, I don't think this is Michael's idea. I think he's getting some very bad career advice.
From who?
Part of what he, I'd just as soon not personalize it. He knows.
Come on, Counselor. I can't get any more personal. He's calling your boss. He's calling your boss a racist and a devilish mean guy.
I'll deal
so who's
with
giving
that.
him bad advice?
It is ridiculous to call Tommy Mottola a racist. First of all, I've known this guy for years. He doesn't have a racist bone in his body. He has been a staunch proponent of black music. He's got numerous close friends in the black community. It is absolutely nuts. And you know what it does? It cheapens the word racist.
That's already been cheapened. That's already gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that
you,
argument's been used.
When you call people racist, like Tommy Mottola, who's exactly the opposite, the word has no impact anymore.
No, that's true. I mean, look, nobody's taking this seriously, and even Sharpton, who's, got on the bus early because it gives him great publicity, Sharpton.
Sure.
Even Sharpton's, looking at the guy like he's from outer space. Look at him. Sharpton won't even look at him. Look at Sharpton's body language. Look at that. Sharpton can't get out of there fast enough. He knows this is a circus.
How can you make Michael Jackson the poster boy for poor black artists? That's nuts, too. I mean,
So what is this all about? What is this all about, really?
I'll give you my personal speculation. It is just my personal speculation. I think that whoever is guiding Michael in this is guiding him to pressure Sony into making economic concessions. And I think that's a sad, sad thing. It's not Michael. Michael is a guy I really like.
All right, I think here's what it's about, and I disagree with you here, even though you know these guys better than I do. First of all, Jackson's ego is shattered because he only sold 2 million copies of his new record, all right? So he's got to blame it on somebody. So he blames it on his record company for lack of promotion. Now, me being in the business of competing, I know that we do this all the time. If our project fails, we'll say, oh, we didn't get promoted, we didn't get the support we need. You know that. It's a trick that everybody uses. However, the real deal here is that, like Woody Allen, Americans have turned on Michael Jackson. They believe he's a child molester, and they believe that he's a freak of nature. I mean, we just see the latest pictures. The guy's white now. Somehow a black man has turned himself into a white man with hair like Elizabeth Taylor. Americans don't want this kind of a presence in their living room on a CD, on television, and that's why he's such a disaster. I believe he's done as a performer, no matter what he puts out.
Well, you could be right, and if that's true, it's a sad thing. But to go out and start calling people racist, that's beyond the pale.
But he's desperate. He's desperate, and he's not an intelligent man anyway. I don't think he's intelligent.
He has probably a fairly high IQ. I think he is a bright man. I think he's misguided in this campaign. I don't think it's going to work. I think it is designed. I don't think it's just desperation. I think he is out there trying to pressure Sony. He is out there, and this is just my opinion. He's out there saying, I'm going to keep on doing this until you guys go along with what I want.
What does he want? What does he want?
That's something that would get into his agreement, and it's confidential, and I can't.
All right, he wants more money? Does he want more money?
Well, of course. Of course. But
for what? Does he want to make another record and you pay him more money for that record?
I believe that what he wants to do is acquire something from Sony that Sony doesn't want to sell to
give up.
I think that's right. And I think
so this is extortion then?
I wouldn't use that word, but it's certainly not effective extortion, let's say that.
No, I mean, look.
Company's not going to knuckle under to somebody getting out and calling Tommy Mottola a racist, which is wacko.
He just looks stupid, and there's nobody in America, as you said, who sympathizes with him. But I think the guy is a real troubled guy. I disagree with you. I don't think he's a smart guy at all. I think this is really dumb, and I think this is the end of the road for Michael Jackson. Counselor, we appreciate it very much. Thanks very much. Next, we'll wrap things up, the most ridiculous item of the day, and some of your mail.
Sorry about the dust.
Come on, guys, let's go.
After the new roomy 7-passenger Chevy Trailblazer, everything else just seems kind of weak.
I left the bagels in the jet.
The new Chevy Trailblazer, like a rock.
After 26 years of marriage, Tom and I realized that we're a little different from each other. We do everything together, but each in our own way. Except for one thing. For aspirin therapy, our doctor says we should both take the same dose. A single 81 milligram St. Joseph aspirin, the dosage most doctors recommend for aspirin therapy. After all, taking more aspirin than you may need just isn't a good idea. For anybody, St. Joseph aspirin. Trust it with all your heart.
Experience the new National Geographic Channel. Spectacular new shows. Around-the-clock adventure. The continuing story of life on Earth every day of the week. A new channel. A new National Geographic. Log on on to nationalgeographic.com and request the new NGC. Always wonder.
Following the tragic events of September 11th, there have been hundreds of violent attacks against innocent Americans.
Remember what that flag you're waving stands for.
Remember, please stop the hate.
We're stronger when we are united.
Remember what that flag you're waving stands for.
One nation under God.
Indivisible.
With liberty
And justice.
for all.
In America, there's either room for everyone, or it's not America. Don't pick the wrong fight.
Let's keep America land of the free.
Stop the hate.
Tomorrow.
I've been instructed by my counsel not to testify.
WorldCom worries mount. Will desperate pleas put execs in contempt? Tomorrow on Fox News Live.
Time now for the most ridiculous item of the day. If you've read the O'Reilly Factor book, you know I'm not a big fan of designer coffee. I'm a Juan Valdez guy all the way. Paying $4 for a mocha frappuccino is ridiculous. And now we learn that many coffee shops in New York City, at least, are charging $1 more for iced coffee than for hot coffee. So I guess that means we're paying for the brand new refrigerator that makes the ice. This coffee mania all over the USA is ridiculous on all fronts. And finally tonight, the mail about my interview with the president of the American Atheist Group, Renee Gosen. Charlotte, North Carolina. O'Reilly, they say bias is like a backpack. You can't see your own. You were very rude and arrogant to atheist Ellen Johnson. You use your media power to promote your beliefs and exclude others. Hey, Ms. Gosen, that's a bunch of baloney, and you know it. Ms. Johnson had plenty of airtime, and nobody is excluded on the Factor. We want to hear all points of view. Joy Hicks, Philadelphia, Mississippi. I was angered to hear the atheist say her group is being oppressed. As a teacher and a Christian, I must tiptoe through early American literature, dealing with religion simply because I might offend. I believe the minority is ruling the majority in this country. Wayne Ridenauer, Monette, Missouri. Hey, Bill, if atheists feel left out now, just wait until Judgment Day. Dixie, Houston, Tequesta, Florida. Bill, you are so jealous of Martha Stewart. She is the best thing that ever happened to the home in America. You have too much power. So let me get this straight, Ms. Houston. Martha Stewart is the best thing that ever happened to America? Sarah Scruggs, Lynchburg, Virginia. Mr. O'Reilly, I think it's sad and disheartening to hear your reporting in the evenings. Rather than focusing on achievement, you often report death and destruction. That's because this is not Up with People, Sarah. This is a no-spin analysis program. Nothing bad will ever become good by ignoring it. Dr. Aaron Simon, Rancho Santa Fe, California. Bill, you are too smart to be such a shallow thinker. Doctor, I think you may be overestimating me. Mary Parker, Orlando, Florida. O'Reilly, your passion for 4-year-old Aurelia Wilson brought tears to my eyes. I hope the story doesn't fade until someone answers for this missing girl. Well, believe me, Miss Parker, I'm not going to let the story fade. Nikki Powell, the Marshall Islands in the Pacific. Mr. O'Reilly, I wish more people were as passionate as you are in their occupations. Well, that's a key to success, Nikki, and thank you for noticing. Eileen Weiss, Hamburg, New York. Bill, about the Factor windbreakers, if I buy one, will it protect me from all the hot air you spew? Elaine, you might need to buy 3 to accomplish that. They're on the website. And Ronnie Tivadar, Stratford, Connecticut, has a limerick for us. There once was a guy named O'Reilly who sometimes people criticized highly. They thought they could spin, but they really can't win because Bill is learned and wily. Well, hey, Ronnie, thanks a lot. Enjoyed it. How about that website where you get those Factor windbreakers? They are flying out of the Factor store because they're really, really sharp. www.foxnews.com/O'Reilly and we have worldnetdaily.com. My column is on the Pledge of Allegiance, and you're going to want to read this, all right? Also, how about emailing us with some pithy comments? O'Reilly@foxnews.com, O'Reilly@foxnews.com. Name and town if you wish to opine. That is it for us today. As always, we thank you for watching The Factor. Please remember the Radio Factor on Westwood One from coast to coast each weekday. Next, Hannity and Colm, some harsh words for the Bush administration at the NAACP convention. I'm Bill O'Reilly reporting this evening from Chicago. Hope to see you again next time, and remember, the spin stops here.
Next on Special Report, WorldCom executives take the fifth in a congressional hearing on the company's fraudulent accounting. The president, meanwhile, says he's worried about public confidence in the economic system and will, quote, vigorously pursue corporate lawbreakers. He also calls on Congress to get busy on his agenda. The Pentagon says for the first time, yes, there were civilian casualties in those attacks north of Kandahar last week. Does not say how many. And 35 years later, an American hero is honored at last at the White House. First, though, the other headlines from the Fox desk in New York.
Fox News Live, I'm Kieran Chetry. A California police officer has been suspended without pay after an incident in Inglewood. This amateur video shows Officer Jeremy Moore slamming a teenager's head during an arrest, then hitting him. The L.A. County Sheriff's Office says the teen became combative during a traffic stop. Investigators are now checking surveillance tapes from the gas station to find out what happened before the videotape started. The boy's lawyer says the teen is emotionally handicapped. There are still no suspects in the case of missing Utah teen Elizabeth Smart, but one of the men being questioned may be charged with another crime. Former Smart family handyman Richard Reese is expected to be charged later this week for burglarizing the Smart family home. During questioning about the abduction, Reese admitted to stealing from the house but denied any involvement in Elizabeth's kidnapping. The NAACP handing out some grades, measuring states' progress with election reform. The group released its report card at the annual convention. Michigan got the highest grade of an A-. 6 states failed. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld is recovering after minor surgery to correct an arthritis problem on his left thumb. He will be wearing a cast for the next month. And we're back with another update for you at the bottom of the hour. I'm Kieran Chetry. Special Report with Britt Hume is coming your way next here on Fox.
Welcome to Washington. I'm Britt Hume. Congressional committee members jumped into the WorldCom investigation today as several former executives of the telecom company refused to testify, invoking their Fifth Amendment rights. But as yet another corporate scandal rocks Wall Street, and as Congress jumps in with pending legislation, it's SEC Chairman Harvey Pitt who may serve as the sacrificial lamb. Fox News' chief political correspondent Carl Cameron has the story.
Asserting their constitutional right to avoid self-incrimination, the fired CEO and former top financial officer of WorldCom refused to answer questions from Congress.
I must respectfully decline to answer the questions of this committee on the basis of my Fifth Amendment privilege.
WorldCom and its ex-brass join a growing list of corporate giants who've fallen from grace in a rash of accounting scandals that have undermined investor confidence and in some cases caused bankruptcies, layoffs, and even fraud charges.
You're supposed to, as early as possible, to see evil, hear evil, and report evil. None of which occurred here.
And Republican Senator John McCain in part blames the Bush administration's top government regulator. He's joined numerous Democrats in a call for Harvey Pitt's resignation as chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Pitt was a Wall Street lawyer with several accounting firm clients before President Bush tapped him to run the SEC last year. McCain wrote in a New York Times op-ed piece, quote, "While Mr. Pitt may be a fine man, he has appeared slow and tepid in addressing accounting abuses, and concerns remain that he has not distanced himself enough from former clients." The White House firmly defends Pitt, but Tuesday the president goes on offense with a speech to Wall Street calling for stricter accounting and business practices and tougher penalties and jail time for executives whose firms commit fraud. The president's plan embraces the goals but not the specifics of pending legislation in the Senate. Democrats are worried that harsher punishment alone will fall short.
But getting at the bad apples is not enough. We need to make changes in the system.
Though that system and many of the problems predate the Bush administration, Democrats have launched a relentless election year attack accusing the president and the GOP of supporting policies that reward corporate greed. Even before the president's speech, the liberal American Family Voices group created by James Carville unveiled an attack ad.
Bush thinks tough talk and hide the record. That's sly, like a fox.
That particular ad will run in Washington, D.C. as well as in New York. Democrats are convinced that corporate scandal will make a potent campaign weapon. But there is little indication in the polls right now that it's done much damage to the president or the Bush administration, though there is some indication that congressional Republicans are vulnerable. To that end, the GOP is looking for the president to hit a home run with his speech on Tuesday, And Mr. Bush has already said that he will provide both additional funds and investigators to strengthen the SEC. Brett?
Is McCain the only Republican up there calling for Pitt's ouster?
So far, he's the only one to actually say he ought to go, but there are an awful lot of Republicans who have begun to suggest that perhaps now's not the right time for a man who was once a lawyer for accounting firms. But no one else has joined with McCain, at least amongst the Republican Party, to say he's got to go now.
All right, Carl, thanks very much. At his first press conference since early March, President Bush said he will vigorously pursue corporate lawbreakers, demanded Congress act on what he said was a lot of unfinished business, defended himself against old charges from his days in the energy business, and said, yes, he does want to be rid of Saddam Hussein. Fox News' senior White House correspondent Jim Angle is standing by live on the North Lawn. Hi, Jim.
Hello, Brett. Well, before plunging headlong into corporate scandals, the president had a point he wanted to make, and that is that Congress is acting too slowly on key issues, including emergency money for defense and airline security. Further delay, he said, is intolerable.
More than 100 days ago, I asked Congress to appropriate additional money to equip our armed forces and strengthen security at our airports. 4 months later, the Department of Defense and the new Transportation Security Administration are still waiting for the money.
And Mr. Bush suggested that Congress, especially Democrats in the Senate, might suffer if they don't act soon.
The agenda is full, the time is short, and the nation is watching.
But the majority of the questions were on corporate scandals and corporate responsibility, what the president plans to do about them, and Democratic charges that he cut some corners while he was a CEO back in the late 80s and early 90s. Mr. Bush said first that it is only a few CEOs who have stained the system.
There has been a period of time when everything seemed easy. Markets were roaring, capital was everywhere, and people forgot their responsibilities. And as you know, you've had to suffer through many of my speeches, but I have been calling for a renewed sense of responsibility in America, and that includes corporate responsibility.
Now, aides say Mr. Bush in his speech in New York on Tuesday will call for increased criminal, not civil, but criminal penalties for corporate fraud. He also indicated today he'll call for more investigators at the SEC and more money for the SEC, something even Republicans had been calling for. The White House had added some additional money, but not as much as some Republican proponents had asked. Now, the president was asked repeatedly about his own actions back in the early 1990s when he was on the corporate board of Harken Energy. The president filed a notice that he intended to sell some 200,000 shares of stock before he made that sale, but did not file until several months later the paperwork that said that sale had actually gone through. Democrats allege Mr. Bush failed to act in that regard and that he knew the company was going to post a loss when he decided to sell the stock. The president said all this has been looked into over and over again and gets brought up almost every election.
This has been fully vetted. It has been looked at by the SEC. You've got the documents. You've got the finding where the guy said there's no case here. And just the way I view it is it's old-style politics, and I guess that's the way it's going to be.
Mr. Bush referred to those allegations as recycled stuff and then paused for effect.